In the foothills of the towering mountains lived a young orphan shepherd named Salem. Salem owned nothing in this world except a small hut, a stick he inherited from his father, and a single snow-white sheep. She was his only family and friend. He named her Najma because of the gray spot in the middle of her forehead that resembled a star. Najma was more than just a sheep to Salem, she kept him company in the vast green pastures. He would speak to her, and she would respond with soft bleats, as if she understood him. He would share his meager bread with her, and on cold nights, he would sleep beside her, seeking warmth and security from her wool. Their life was peaceful and simple. Every morning, Salem would lead Najma to the hills to eat the green grass. He would sit under the shade of an old olive tree, playing a sad tune on his flute. Najma would raise her head and gaze at him with gentle eyes. But this fragile peace was threatened by an ancient danger lurking in the high mountains. The shepherds spoke in whispers of a huge gray wolf, a ghost that appeared at dusk, clever and cunning, stealing sheep from the flocks without anyone noticing. Salem would hear the stories and tremble with fear for his star, so he doubled his vigilance and never let her out of his sight for a moment. One autumn afternoon, the sky was covered with dark clouds, a fierce wind blew, and heavy rain began to fall. Salem tried to hurry, but the valley filled with water and the mud became sticky, impeding their movement. As he tried to extract his foot from the mud, he caught a glimpse of a gray shadow moving among the rocks. Before he could scream or raise his stick, the wolf pounced on Najma. One leap, one powerful bite, and then it was all over. Salem tried to rush forward, but he stumbled and fell. All he saw was the wolf's yellow eyes staring coldly at him before it disappeared into the darkness, dragging Najma's body. Salem sat in the mud, the rain washing away his tears. His grief turned to anger, and anger to a desire for revenge. He returned to the village with a grim expression. An old woman Sophia tried to console him, saying, "Be patient, my son. The wolf takes and God gives." But he calmly said, "Yes, by God, Haja Sophia, but I cannot sit idly by. I will take justice into my own hands." He entered his hut and lit his lamp. He took out an old dagger that belonged to his father and spent the night sharpening it. At the first light of dawn, he set out, trusting in God, toward the mountains. He followed the wolf's tracks until he reached dark caves in the rocky peaks. He cautiously entered one, the dagger shining in his hand, his heart pounding violently. Suddenly, he heard a faint moan, not a howl, but a faint cry. He approached and saw 4 small wolf pups shivering and crying, and their mother lying in a corner of the cave, her leg caught in a rusty trap and blood drying around her. It was the she-wolf who killed Najma, but Salem noticed that she had eaten
only a small amount of her flesh, as if she had hunted her only to feed her cubs. At that moment, he realized that what she had done was not evil, but rather desperate motherhood. He raised his dagger, but his hand trembled. He saw pain, not ferocity, in her eyes, and he remembered his loneliness and orphanhood. If he killed her, he would leave 4 orphans like he had been. At that moment, mercy triumphed over revenge in his heart. He lowered his dagger and sat next to her. He tried to open the trap, but it proved difficult. He went out and brought a strong branch, using it as leverage until he freed her leg. Then he placed chewed plantain leaves on her wound to stop the bleeding. He sat and watched her in silence until she calmly approached him, then thrust her head toward him with a piece of Najma's flesh, as if to thank him and share his food. Salem's tears streamed down, and he realized that mercy is the greatest courage, and that revenge does not heal hearts but causes pain. He returned to his village transformed. He was no longer the angry child, but a mature young man who understood the meaning of life. He became known among the people as the guardian of the mountain, breaking hunters' traps, treating wounded animals, and maintaining the balance of nature. Sometimes, when he was in the high pastures, he would see 3 young wolves in the distance, silently watching him, as if guarding him. Thus, Salem learned that courage lies not in raising a weapon to take revenge, but in lowering it to offer mercy, and that the greatest wisdom lies in seeing yourself through the eyes of your enemy, knowing that we are all searching for safety in life. Share your thoughts with us in the comments. What did you learn from the story? And from which country are you following us? And if you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay tuned for every new story.